Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back and I'm here to undo more mind fucks that have been casted over the world, casted over our psyche. Okay, this world religious mind fuck has deluded the minds of many people who call themselves enlightened. So, my job today is just to keep on my mission, keep steady, and keep undoing these mind fucks one step at a time. All right. So right here, we're going to get started with this individual right here named Nero Caesar. Okay. A lot of Christian scholars refer to this Roman emperor, this Roman ruler, as Nero Caesar. Okay. And they say that he was the worst man who ever existed. They say that he killed hundreds, maybe even thousands, close to thousands of Christians in the Roman Colosseum, fed them to hyenas and fed them to lions, okay, and other animals, and tortured them, burning them on crosses, okay, burned Christians on their own religious symbol, okay. So this guy is recognized as the most evil man in Christian history. Okay, so RFG is going to be completely debunking and completely undoing the Christian mindfuck that has been conducted over this world. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, first and foremost, we're going to take a look at archaeological evidence here. And when we take note of the fact that the original statues that were made to depict Nero Caesar, the nose is missing here. Okay, I want you guys to take note of that. The noses were knocked off of the original Nero Caesar statues. Okay, so this was the statue of him when he was younger, showing that his nose was missing. And this is another statue right here, you see, when he was older. Okay, this is the adult Nero Caesar, and you see one of the original statues of Nero Caesar depicted him missing his nose. Okay, now, isn't that familiar? If I'm not mistaken, I believe Napoleon and his followers shot the noses off of the Sphinx and other statues in ancient Kemet. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, folks. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Nero Caesar was a descendant of a Moor, okay? A descendant of a Moorish lineage, okay? He was a Moor, and he was from Sudan. Let me repeat. He may not have been born in Sudan, but his DNA lineage goes back to the Moors in Sudan, okay? Who were occupying Kemet for some time as well. All right. Now we're going to prove this through etymology. And you see, I cracked these bastards because Nero, ladies and gentlemen, the name Nero was not given to Nero Caesar at birth. The name Nero was given to him by the Christians in Rome. Okay. Okay. So right here, we're going to look at the etymology of Nero. The adjective Nero means black in Italian. In an older form, okay, it was spelled Negro. It was spelled Negro, okay? So Nero basically means Negro. Let me repeat this, ladies and gentlemen, so we all get this clear. Everybody listening, I don't give a damn if you are a Christian, a Catholic, a Mormon, Islamic, Jewish, Hindu. I don't give a fuck. I need everybody to look at this clearly, okay, and accept reality for what it is. They called him Nero Caesar. The adjective Nero means black in Italian. In an older form, it was spelled Negro, which derives from the Latin word Niger, okay, that had exactly the same meaning. So we all know Niger originally was known as Nagas, and it basically means a melanated king. It means a highly melanated king. Okay? A dark-skinned king. That's what that means. All right? And Nero was not the name given to him at birth. Okay? We're going to go ahead and prove that right now. Nero Caesar's Wikipedia. Okay, when we click on Nero Caesar's Wikipedia, all right, now right here, it's going to show you, bingo, nail in the coffin, the first nail in the coffin right here. Okay, Nero Caesar was born Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. Okay, so this was his birth name. Okay, so if this is his birth name, who named Nero Caesar Nero? It was the Christians that were occupying Rome at that time. All right. Okay, this is very, very important information here. Very, very important information here. So through archaeological evidence and through etymological evidence, okay, we can conclude that Nero Caesar was indeed a so-called melanated man. Now, when you do the research, Nero Caesar had a grandfather on his mother's side. Okay, this right here is Nero Caesar's mother's father. Okay, this is Nero Caesar's grandfather. His name was Germanicus Julius Caesar. Okay, now we're gonna put some more nails in the coffin here. Germanicus praenomen, which means his pre-name, okay, is unknown, but he was probably named Nero Claudius, okay, Drusus, after his father. Okay, so right here we have another Nero. We have another Nero. Okay, we have another Nero, and this is this is Nero Caesar's grandfather, his mother's father. Okay, so when we look at the father of Germanicus, okay, who was the father of Germanicus? Oh, Nero Claudius Drusus. Nero Claudius Drusus. Okay, so this is Nero Caesar's great grandfather on his mother's side. Okay, this is Nero Caesar's great grandfather on his mother's side, and he was a Nero Claudius Drusus. Okay, and who was? Oh, it's gonna continue. It's gonna continue. Who was Nero Claudius Drusus? Who was his father? Tiberius Claudius Nero. Okay, so right here is Tiberius Claudius Nero. This was a Roman ruler, okay, a so-called black Roman ruler, and this was Nero Caesar's great-great-grandfather. So this is Nero Caesar's second great-grandfather. This is Nero Caesar's great-grandfather. And this right here is Nero Caesar's grandfather, and they are all Neros, which means that they are all so-called Negroes, which means that their phenotype, okay, I'm going to show you their phenotype because right here, they are all of Sudanese lineage, okay? If you look at a lot of the people that occupy Sudan, okay, people don't know this. There were pyramids that were built in Sudan, folks. There were pyramids built in Sudan. Okay? Libya and Sudan. Go check that out. Go check that out, folks. Okay, so when we look at the phenotype of the individuals who occupied Sudan, this is what they look like. Okay? They were a dark olive. They were like dark olive complected, but you could easily tell that they were still melanated, so-called black, and they had more of a Eurocentric phenotype. See, look at the eyebrows and the eyebrow ridge, and then the nose bone, the narrow nose bone. They had more of a Eurocentric phenotype, but just because they have a Eurocentric phenotype, that does not mean that they're not black. Okay? Okay? So today, we are completely undoing the mindfuck, because there is a big reason why mainstream Christians, they love to label Nero Caesar. You see what I'm saying? The most evil man in the world. Okay? Okay, and look, they took the nose off of his original statues. Okay? His real name wasn't Nero. That was given to him by the Christians in Rome. His real name was Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus. Okay? So Nero was the name that was given to to Nero Caesar, along with Nero's grandfather, his great-grandfather, and his great-great-grandfather. Okay? Okay? And this is why that the so-called Christians had to give Nero a bad name, you see? And they had to say Nero equals 666. You see, Nero is Negro, which equals the 666, because 666 is carbon, okay, which the Negro is made out of. The Negro is the carbon. The Negro is the 666. The Nero, the Negro. Okay, so we're gonna keep this going. All right, and if you think that's it, there was way more so-called black emperors of Rome. Right here, we have Emperor Caracalla or Caracalla. Go research the Emperor Caracalla right here. Okay, Lucius Septimus Bassianus. He was born April 4th, 188. Okay, died on April 8th of 217. Commonly known as Caracalla, was a black emperor who ruled from 211 to 217. Okay, so he ruled for 6 years over Rome. Okay, Caracalla was the eldest son of Septimius Severus, the first black African-born emperor of Rome. But before Septimius Severus, there had been other Roman-born black emperors of Rome. Okay, this story of the other black emperors of Rome will be explored in another write-up. Okay, now when you look at the information that has been gathered, you see these are coins. You see, these are coins of Caracalla. So there's no, like I said, there's no getting around this. Okay, we have archaeological and etymological evidence, okay, that proves the first rulers of Rome, okay, were so-called black people, black men. All right, okay, and Rome has been labeled pagan and evil and wicked by religious Christians out there. Okay, and that was done for a reason. Okay, because I'll show you who the original Christians were. All right, now right here, this is the father of Caracalla, Septimus Severus, was born. Wait, was that the father? Let me just make sure and fact check. Okay, yeah, Septimius Severus. Okay, that was, this is the father of Caracalla, was a Numidian African Moor from North Africa. He was the founder and ancestor of all members of the Severan dynasty. Okay, Septimius Severus was the first Roman emperor not born and raised in Italy. His father's family originally came from Libya. Okay. Okay, and I just showed you their phenotype. People from Libya and Sudan, I just showed you their phenotype. Okay, so what they did is they used that Eurocentric phenotype and they just put white face over it. They just put white paint over the statues. That's what they did, folks. They put white and gray paint over the statues. Okay? his grandfather, a Moorish knight of Roman, the empire, owned land near Rome, but Septimius had grown up in Libya, Africa, with his father. Okay? Okay, so like I said, if you want to read more into this, okay, this is the information that has been kept from us in mainstream education systems. Okay? This is the real history, okay, of Rome, the real world history that's been kept from us for centuries. Now, there are certain countries in Europe where they still learn this information, where they still learn the truth. Okay? But when it comes to this United States education system, it is all a lie. All a complete bogus lie. All right? Now, why would you call somebody a knight? You see, when the Neros entered Rome, okay, the Neros took over Rome by military force, and they did it to get revenge on the Serapis worshippers for destroying Kemet. Let me repeat. The Neros took over Rome under military military force because the Ptolemies took over Kemet by military force. Okay, so it's basically an act of revenge. Okay, now right here we have the first knights in history. Why would you call a warrior a knight? Why would you call a warrior a knight? Because their skin was dark as night. It was dark like night. And notice they say knight in shining armor. They say knight in shining armor. So the shining is not depicting the skin. The shining is depicting the armor. So the knight is not depicting the armor, because the knight, okay, is something that's described as separate from the armor. The armor is shining, but the knight is in the armor. The knight in shining armor. You see? You see? So, through etymology, through archaeology, archaeological evidence, historical evidence, and through etymology, these guys have been debunked. These mainstream Christian Bible toters, they're going to be debunked heavily. Okay, here we go. So basically, I've come to this conclusion. The city of Rome did not get out of hand, and in my opinion, was not an evil empire until 1491. Okay? Rome was not a so-called evil empire until 1491, until the Moors, until the Neros were expelled from Rome. Okay? So that whole time that the Neros were occupying Rome, all the way up into 1491, I do not believe that Rome was an evil empire. Only from 1491 to now. Okay? Okay, because this is when the Moors lost control of Rome, which was control of the world. You see? And when the Moors lost control, that's when it became a complete, full-blown evil empire. Alright? Now, you see, Christians, mainstream Christians, want to say, oh, the Romans were pagans. They were evil. They were devil-worshipping devils. And they were murderous devils. You see what I'm saying? And then they'll show pictures of the lions, okay, eating the Christians, the hyenas and tigers eating the Christians, and the other Christians being burned on crosses. You see what I'm saying? You see, this is how the KKK got the idea of burning someone on a cross. They got it from the Neros. The KKK got it from the Neros. You see? You see, and I'm about to break this down right now. All right? Ptolemy, the first Soter, was a Caucasian man who took over Egypt under military force. Okay? just like Alexander the Greek. You see, I don't call him Alexander the Great. I call him Alexander the Greek. Okay, Alexander the Greek took over Egypt under military force, and after Soter and Alexander took it over, that's what started the Ptolemaic dynasty over Egypt. The Ptolemaic dynasty over Egypt was a short dynasty where you had European pharaohs over Egypt. You had Caucasian pharaohs over Egypt. All right. So when you look at Alexander the Greek, he ruled over Egypt 336 to 323 BCE. Okay. So he ruled it for what? 6 years? 6. Yeah, is that 6 years? 336, 326. It's 7 years. Yeah, it had to be, I think, I'm not sure if I'm doing the math right, but if you 326, 13 years. Okay, yeah, 13 years. Okay, so that's very interesting because, wow, that's very interesting because Alexander took over the Melanated Empire for 13 years, and he was the first, he was the first European pharaoh of Egypt. But then when you read into Nero Caesar, okay, Nero Caesar took over Rome for 13 years. Ladies and gentlemen, do the research. Nero Caesar took over Rome for 13 years. Okay? So Alexander the Greek did the same thing to Egypt. Okay? But they make a whole notion off of these Romans, these black emperors of Rome who put these Christians to death. They say, oh, he's evil, he's evil. But everybody wants to forget that Ptolemy, okay, Soter, and Alexander the Greek, they took over Egypt by military force. And ladies and gentlemen, they couldn't have done that unless they murdered thousands of Egyptians. Let me repeat. Alexander the Greek and Ptolemy Soter could have never took over Egypt unless they put thousands of melanated people to death. Okay? So Alexander the Greek and Ptolemy the first Soter, they are murderers. They are mass murderers. Okay? And why is this important? Ptolemy the first Soter is responsible for mixing his image with the Egyptian god Osiris and the Greek god Apis, and coming up with the image of Serapis. So the image of Serapis is nothing but a depiction of Ptolemy the first Soter. Okay, so when you worship Serapis Jesus, you're really worshiping the first ruler of the first European ruler of Egypt, Ptolemy the first Soter. Okay, this is who you worship when you worship Jesus. Okay, so when those Christians were being put to death, the Neros didn't see them as Christians. The Neros, okay, the black rulers of Rome, saw them as worshippers of Alexander the Greek and worshippers of Ptolemy the first Soter. Okay? Okay? You guys better do your research. You guys better do your damn research. And like I said, Ptolemy the first Soter and Alexander the Greek, they killed thousands of black people in Egypt and in Libya and in Sudan. Okay? These right here were the real fucking savages. Alexander the Greek and Ptolemy were the real savages. They try to call the emperors of Rome savages for putting these people to death. We don't know what the hell they did. We don't know what the hell they did to be persecuted and executed. But since they were labeled Christians, that means that they worshipped so-called Jesus Christ, and so-called Jesus Christ came into existence when Ptolemy mixed his image with Osiris and Apis. Okay? Okay, so the people who worshipped this man under Nero Caesar's rule, okay, under the Caesar's rule, the people who worshipped Soter under Caesar's rule were put to death. Okay? They were put to death. So this is where you get your depiction of the lions and the hyenas and the tigers, you know what I'm saying, eating these so-called Christians. But these so-called Christians were worshiping, okay, these rulers that killed thousands of black people in Egypt. Okay, I'm just keeping it real, man. And you know, it's this whole notion going around in the Christian culture. You know, oh, by the way, that word cult comes from culture. It comes from culture. Now you can have a productive cult, or you can have a very low vibrational, self-destructive cult. Okay, all depending on who's running the cult. Okay, which is nothing but a culture. All right. So, you know, it's a notion going around in Christian culture that Nero Caesar and the Roman Empire was evil. Okay, because they worship the serpent. You know what I'm saying? And you got these indigenous people across the world doing rain dances and worshiping the serpent. And the Serapis worshiping Christians, they called it pagan. You see, the Christians called this pagan. And ain't a goddamn thing pagan about it, because, okay, we all know the indigenous people across the world paid homage to nature, paid homage to Mother Nature and the universe. Okay? Okay, the indigenous people across the world paid homage to nature and the universe, and the Christians called it pagan. Look, the Christians called it pagan. The Christians called it pagan. Now look, they called the snake pagan too, but the snake was a symbol of medicine. The snake was a symbol of universal wisdom and healing and righteousness and justice, okay? That's what the snake's original symbolic depiction was, okay? Okay, now let me tell you what the real pagan deity is. The real pagan deity is the God over the original Torah and the God over the original Bible, which is a parasite known as El, Kronos, Saturn, Father Time, okay, Yaldabaoth, aka Yahweh, okay, yeah, this is your real pagan deity that eats his own fucking kids. You see, Saturn, Kronos, El is where we get the word Satan, okay, and this is the God of the Bible and the God of the Torah, and this deity eats his own children, okay. Now that is pagan. Now that is pagan, Christians. Wouldn't you say so? Wouldn't you say so, Christians? Wouldn't you say so? Okay? Okay? So this is RFG undoing the Christian mindfuck. Okay? Nero Caesar and his grandfather and his great grandfather and his great great grandfather were all so-called black men, okay? And, you know, the Christians want to say, oh, Nero is the most evil in the world. Nero equals 666, okay? Nero equals 666 because the word Nero means Negro, okay? Negro ruler who put the Serapis worshippers to death, okay, on burning crosses, okay? And that's where the KKK stole that action from, okay? That's why the original KKK members were called the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, because they started the Knights Templar after stealing Nero Caesar's blueprint. They created the Knights Templar. The Caucasians created the Knights Templar off of stealing Nero Caesar's blueprint, and then the Knights Templar would go around and murder the Moors, okay, and burn the Moors on burning crosses. Okay, so the Knights Templar stole Nero Caesar's blueprint and ran with it. And after the slaves were freed in 1865, That's when the Freemasonic Order joined forces with the Knights Templar and created your KKK in um, in America, in the United States. Okay, okay, very deep, very, 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 very deep information. All right, everything the Christians and mainstream media has tried to call evil and tried to give an evil face is actually the only thing that can save our souls. All right. So all power to the great serpent. All power to the great serpent. Okay? All power to the Neros. All power to the Neros. All power to the great serpents. Okay? We live in the land of Amaruka. Okay? Amaruka, the land of the serpent. This is where you get the real name for America, Amaruka. Okay? This is what the Inca, okay, the Inca, when you look at the Incan Empire, this is what they called their land. And the Olmec and the Ouachitas, the Inca, Olmec, and the Ouachitas are the oldest indigenous people on this land, which is Atlantis, okay, aka Amaruka. Okay, so that being said, all power to the great serpent. I appreciate everyone who supports RFG and Atlantean movement. Please like, share, and subscribe. As the chosen one, man. I'm out.